Hi everybody. So I'm going to do the weekly astrology, and let me fix this a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the weekly astrology and get started. So basically, the sun, in a general aspect, the sun is moving into Scorpio. And so with the sun moving into Scorpio, there's going to be, in this week's time, the moon will move faster, but the sun will be in Scorpio, Venus will be in Scorpio, Mercury will be in Scorpio, and then the moon. So our emotions are going to want to go really super deep. And so these are the things like that are at the bottom of the ocean of our consciousness. They are at the, stuff that has maybe been buried back into our subconscious. And this is stuff that kind of wants to come to light. It's a lot like, secrets get revealed. It's all about transforming something from the dark into the light. And Venus is the divine feminine. The sun is our path, our mission in this lifetime that we chose to go forward with. Mercury is all about communication, and then the moon is obviously our emotional space, stuff that we don't really, it's our personality that we don't really put out into the public. It's stuff that we show, our roommates, our kids, our sisters, our family, our significant other. So as the moon shifts this week, it's going to go from Leo. So in that emotional space, we could feel like today, we could feel very outgoing, very dramatic, very, or like other people could appear to be that way. It's all depending on how we're projecting it out or we're receiving it inward. Tomorrow, the moon is also in Leo, and so what Leo is also about is, again, it's like that the actor or the actress that goes up on the screen and kind of like the look at me. It's also like that Leo, the lion energy, where it's like the king of the pride, the king of the community. So where it's like, that's why Leos are very loyal. Leos are very protective. It's like they're protective over groups. And it also is a representation of our inner child. It's a very childlike energy. That's why people who are in drama and stuff like that, they can, be flamboyant or out there or whatever. It's the ability to play. And then also, again, it's like that pride. So it could be, those characteristics can show through in very distorted versions where it's like, a little bit more of your shadow aspects, the things that are a little bit more crunchy. Or it can be, in the lighter aspect, our divine aspect, the ascended part of ourselves that always kind of take the higher road. And we always know, nobody in this world is perfect. So, we all slip into shadow aspects and we all come back into our light aspects. But it's like thinking about it in the idea of how often do you spend in each aspect. So with that being said, we're going to move into the energy of the week, and we're going to start off with, actually, before we do that, I want to talk about some of the crystals that I chose to have today with me. Two of them, for the most part, I have amethyst, and so amethyst, you can tell it has like this really pretty sparkle to it. It rolls our third eye chakra, or it can kind of be the crown chakra, and then I think lapis is technically the third eye. So it's kind of like how we receive, it allows us to receive information in, it heightens that vibration so that you can bring in information. So, there's a lot of Neptune stuff this week, so it's like the reason why I chose that was because of the heightened intuition. That with the Scorpio, so that you can kind of receive information up instead of those more primal energies that are coming from the, from down below. So I also chose angelic angel quartz, which is like a blue color. So it's like it governs over the throat chakra, but also it helps to kind of draw in those vibrations of that angelic support that we have up above us, again helping us to take the high road when we have different situations that come up. The other one that I chose is and I can't, it's evading me right now. What I would encourage is yellow calcite, because I can't think of the name of this one right now. But yellow calcite, or anything that is going to rule that solar plexus chakra, is going to help us work with our pride, work with our personal power, help to encourage us. It's going to bother me now that I can't think of that name. It's like poof, gone. So today, specifically, the moon is still in Cancer. So if you noticed last weekend, you may have like kind of been phasing through some different emotions. We're still in that Cancer energy, so we're still kind of wanting to be nurtured, wanting to feel like we want to be home, feeling like that very maternal energy that is out there, because the Cancer and the moon rules Cancer rules the moon. Their energies are synergistic together, and so we can still be having some of these emotions. Now the moon is void right now and is moving into Leo. It went void at 12:29, so right now, right in this moment. So the moon will be shifting into Leo going into the later part of today. There's a lot of energy this week working with Mars, the divine masculine, the nodes of fate, Saturn, and then next week it's Saturn and Pluto. Now these energies, because the south node is, and Saturn and Pluto are all like clumped up together in Capricorn, and then Mars is sitting in here and over here in Libra. And so we're going to have a lot of, because our masculine energy within us, or the masculine energy in our collective, is going to be making a lot of fated choices this week. And it's because it's south node, it's going to be the masculine, or your masculine, inner masculine, is going to be looking at the past. It's going to be assessing the past while also seeing this duality of what might be possible in your future. So different jobs, different relationships, different, aspects, it's all different, how it can come up for you specifically. But you're going to see this duality this week of, light versus dark, especially with all the saturation of Scorpio, because Scorpio is also like the very depths of the ocean all the way up to the transcendence, up into the sky. So and that shadow aspect that goes from one realm to the other. So Libra is looking at that, and it's kind of weighing the balance of it. It's like, okay, when I go to my job, I'm only finding joy, loving what I'm doing, these things, all this data that you'll probably be collecting on Wednesday and Thursday. You're going to start to see all this data that you're going to start to take in to put into these scales. Like, they always say weigh out the pros and cons. Well, that's kind of like the Libra energy. So your masculine energy, how you're going to go forward in life, how you're going to go forward with relationships, how you're going to go forward with work, all these different kinds of, me versus them kind of energies, or me versus us kind of energies, are going to be, like right now we're starting to build up this confidence, build up this leadership, like getting the courage to move forward. And then once we get into Virgo, we're going to be weighing out those scales, putting stuff here, putting stuff there. Like this job gives me this, that job gives me that, this relationship gives me this, that relationship gives me that. When I'm with this person, I feel good. When I'm with that person, I feel, I'm sad and frustrated. It's like, if it could play out for a child in a divorce situation, it's like, when I'm over at my mom's house, this is how I feel. When I'm over at my dad's house, this is how, or the experience that I had. It's those kind of taking one situation and weighing out, or choosing between two different people. You'll notice that a lot of these parallels will be coming in, where there's like these triangle situations where there's like you and then two different situations, which makes this kind of triangle. It's like you and you have two different friends, and you're seeing the differences on how this person affects your life and how that person affects your life. Or you can be like, if you're currently in a relationship, you could be looking to the past and saying like, well, in this relationship, this person, this is how it was, and in my relationship now, this is how it is. Or, you know, this new person that's coming into my life, this is how my relationship is now. And that is, you know, and then I see this new option coming in or possibility, and or like this is how my job is now and this is the possibility. So again, you can see how that can go back and forth. So Mars is very active this week. And it's a lot about big choices. The idea of Scorpio is everything is going to feel super intense. It's like being on a TV show and you're like, I don't know which one to choose. I don't know which one to choose. And you're like, like you just feel that intensity in your body. It kind of might make you feel confused. But what this intensity does is it has you kind of really come down to the root of everything and make a very instinctual choice, okay? So try the next couple of weeks to not overbook yourself, not to overstress yourself, not to put too much on other people, not to allow other people to put too much on you, so that you can have, and then also take time to get grounded. Take time to be alone. Take time to kind of be able to sift through your thoughts so that you don't have other people's projections on what you should or shouldn't do, or you don't get lost too much in yourself that you don't have the discernment from other people to give you maybe an objective opinion. But again, remember that it's always an opinion. It's not, it's not factual. You really have to go within yourself to figure out what you specifically want. So these are different changes. The way that the astrology is working out is because of its aspect with Saturn. These are permanent changes that you're making in your life. You're creating new cycles going forward of what you identify as real and the structure you want to live by, those kinds of things. People are really becoming very conscious and very aware of their environment and choices, and not settling and not allowing themselves to be in financial debt anymore. People are really starting to look at things through kind of microscopic eyes. So, there's also Jupiter is aspecting the nodes. So again, it could feel like this very expansive and intense. Anything too much of a good thing is maybe not necessarily a great thing. So, there's this necessity or whatever to practice intemperance, just kind of going forward with things slowly. There is an aspect to Neptune that allows you to see through things that you may not really be okay with. The idea of thinking about, well, I don't really like this. I don't like this choice. I don't like when this happens. I don't like da. So it's like you might be seeing things clearly that you may not have seen before about this and that you don't like about, again, that Mars aspect of me versus you, or, the Libra stuff. You're going to see your dreams, goals that you have, and you're going to want to achieve them, or, that the energy with the expansion energy, you're going to really want to kind of like move forward towards whatever it is that you have had goals, whether it be losing weight, doing this, doing that, finding a new job, organizing the garage, like whatever you have been kind of like dreaming of needing to get done or needing to get closer to, or those kind of ideals that you've been having, you're really going to start making some choices where they might not align with other people, or it might cause friction or frustration. It's kind of like you might also see, like all this week is going to be this energy of kind of hitting your head against the wall. It's like, I'm trying to get to that, but there's this obstacle. Now that's Mars meeting up with Saturn this week. So you might notice today that there might be some limitations or some frustrations or some blockages that show up of how you're getting from what you want to what you want to get to, okay? So it's like this right here in the middle, and it's like I'm here and there's there, but I have to like get over this hump first. There is a lot of energy about that is frustration within intimate relationships. So this would be friendships, romantic partnerships, your boss, like intimate relationships where they're like in your inner circle, So there could be different things that pop up that could frustrate you. Now, my discernment on that is to be flexible, be mutable, be responsible for you, and then be okay with whatever is. Because there's this other aspect of, especially next week of and this week with Saturn, is we want to have control, or we are going to have the tendency to want to have control over something. And really the reality of it is us as humans want to control all the things. And the reality of it is we can't. That's a delusion that we have within ourselves, that we think that we can control these different variables in life. And so any way that you can kind of release control, especially releasing control over other people, other situations, allow others to have their choices, make their decisions. It doesn't mean that you have to change your decisions, your choices based on that other situation, but it's like, do the best that you can with whatever is within your ability, and then let the rest go. Okay, we're doing that Aries thing where this week we're in the last quarter phase of the moon, and that in that sense, when we start to shift towards the dark, the dark side of the moon, different crises can come up, and it takes you kind of out of your element to where you really have to, for the new moon, it puts you in this space of really getting clear on what you want to bring into your life. So there's this feeling of kind of pain and frustration within relationships, kind of like butting your head against the wall. And the next part of it is we have Neptune there in Pisces that is going to help expand on this different, meeting whatever these challenges are, meeting whatever these frustrations are within compassion and acceptance. So accepting, radical acceptance within there's stuff that you can't control. So it's like, okay, I accept that this can happen or that this can't happen. I accept that this is the way it is. And I have to figure out how I can best work with the energy. Instead of like being in this space of feeling like, I can't, you get mad because you can't control it. Well, you're just hard. And it's okay to have the emotion of anger, but it's just like, how do you transmute it? If you find something gets mad at you, instead of projecting it at another person, another human, go out, go do 10 push-ups, go for a walk, go diffuse it, punch a punching bag, get it out. But like when you're dealing with another human being, try and meet them with compassion and say, okay, you know what? I'm really sorry that I can't help you, or I'm really, oh man, they're not doing what I need them to do. It's like, okay, well then what can I do then? And that's over the next couple of weeks, over this next Mercury retrograde, that is something within your mindfulness that I would strongly suggest to you is like, what can you do with what it is that you have? And especially when you're working within the law of attraction and trying to manifest and put out that abundance out into the universe, it's like, okay, like I have this dream of wanting to be a millionaire. It's like, okay, so what can I do? So I put these manifestations out into the universe of like, all right, universe, like, how can I get to this point of having financial freedom? Let's put it that way. And it's like, all of a sudden, these different, like if you get so fixed and want to control the environment, that I want it to come from my boss, and I want my boss to give me a raise, and I want this, that, and the other thing. Okay, well then you're really literally creating blockages in the flow of the universe that of what's going to come to you. So, but if you're open to it and you're not trying to control the dynamics of it, who's to say that, all of a sudden, people start trading with you, or this happens or that happens, or all of a sudden, these different forms of financial systems, like your stocks blow up, or, like the different ways of that abundance can come in to create that. Like all of a sudden something happens to where, you were starting to earn an extra $1,000 a month and you didn't really, and it came in out of nowhere and it wasn't even really something that you had to do. Also, like, show it. The other thing with the law of attraction is, like, one thing is to think it, the next thing is to write it down, and then the third thing is actually to do something that is within your control to bring it in. So, like, showing the universe that, okay, so I would like to have my, have more money that's in my budget. So it's like, okay, I'm going to show the universe that, and then the universe always matches you. So it's like, okay, I'm going to cut out one Big B, or one coffee a week, or, I'm going to stop eating out one day a week, like showing some kind of sacrifice to, meet the universe. Or it's like, okay, universe, I need this. I would like a new job. And you keep putting out resumes and applications and nothing seems to be panning out. So it's like, but that's the thing, is like not controlling what that looks like. So it's like you just start filling out the applications to show the universe that you're willing to receive a new job. And then, and then typically what happens is, when these things through the law of attraction, they will come and show up on your path. So it's not like you have to go out of your way to create the situation. It's like all of a sudden you have this intuition of, like, I need to go to Meijer to get some groceries. And then once you're at Meijer's, you run into that friend you haven't seen in a while. And they're like, oh, hey, did you know that this, and this is hiring? Like, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I was really hoping to get a new job. Like, that's the way that the law of attraction works. So I just wanted to talk about that, because we're going to have a lot of fixed energy in the universe right now. So I really want to put it out there to try and not control situations, because that is going to be our tendency, is to control what we can. Especially as the intensity builds this week, because it's going to build until Sunday. Today is the first day, and every day until Sunday it's going to feel a little bit more intense, especially once the sun gets in there and starts really warming up the Scorpio energy. So to move on, so meet everything this week with acceptance. What can I do? Thinking about it that way. What is within my control? And then showing it compassion. Trying to look at, okay, this person was grouchy with me, and I understand why, because X, Y, and Z. I don't necessarily have to accept their behavior, but I understand where they're coming from. Tomorrow, things could be tense. There could be different communications that come up that make things feel difficult. You could feel very vulnerable. You could feel very anxious. You could feel very distant from something. Remember that these are all just perceptions. These are transits. Tomorrow could just feel like your goals are way out of reach, but then by next Tuesday, it doesn't feel like that anymore. Or by Wednesday, it doesn't even feel like that anymore. So this is just, tomorrow is going to feel like things are very distant from you, and that you might have the tendency to kind of avoid different things. But the universe is going to create situations where you're being thrust into something that maybe you've been trying to avoid. You could have the tendency within that Mars energy of, like, weighing this and that. So there could be the tendency to see the differences in things, like noticing, like I said, these two different friends, and I notice how I feel when I'm in this relationship, and I'm noticing how it feels differently in this situation. So just notice it. You're just going to notice different things tomorrow. Your insecurities are going to be heightened. You might have a hard time seeing value in something, so maybe not buying anything tomorrow, especially since we're in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde. It's not really a good time to commit to anything unless it's something that you've already done and you kind of know what the energy is around it, or it's something you've been working on for a long time and it's a goal that you've had for a while. Wednesday, the moon moves into Virgo, so again, that's where we're going to start to collect data. And we might feel a little overly critical of other people or ourselves, but for the most part, Virgo energy is very productive. You might want to get to the bottom of something. So there could be something that comes up to where it's like this investigative energy within you kind of takes over, and it's like you start doing all this research and collecting the data and really wanting to get into it, the nitty gritty of it. But still, you could feel on Wednesdays, there's still like Virgo has a lot of like, there's a lot of anxiety with Virgo. So you could feel, and especially when things get heightened, your awareness is heightened, or choices, that having to make a choice could make you feel very anxious about something. And on Wednesday, you could not see something clearly. So you could have a very distorted view of whatever is going on that's projecting as a mirror out in front of you. What project, so thinking about this week for mindfulness, thinking about what project you've been working on, what project do you want to work on, and who do you want to work on it with? Again, that's going to help you see these variables and work through it. Now, Friday, again, the moon is, so there's going to be a void moon until about 4:20 p.m. as we go, or no, we got to go back to Thursday. Thursday is all about being practical, being productive. Everything feels like might start to feel like it's going super fast. Like you might have different options come in, like different people offer you something different. I don't know, I just keep seeing like there's all these different options that could be available, or you might have somebody come in and offer you a job, or like a guy might come in, or a girl might come in if you're single and offer you something, or like maybe your spouse says like, hey, I want to move and buy a new house, or something that's gonna make things feel intense. Like you have to make a decision, and you have to make a decision pretty quick, so it could feel like, whoa, this is going super fast. So whenever that starts to feel like that, my discernment to offer to you is to take a step back from it and really then again weigh it, get grounded, and then come forward. Friday, the moon is mostly void, so again, don't do any grocery shopping on Friday. Don't buy anything on Friday. You'll probably regret it, because you won't have that intuitive nature that the moon gives us when we're making choices. So Friday is very productive still. It could feel, again, we're building up this intensity. And also on Friday, there's this aspect starting to build with Mars where you might see power struggles. You're going to see power struggles all week long. But again, like I said, towards this weekend, it's going to intensify, because the more fixed energy we get, the more energy we get into this fixed sign, the more we are going to get fixated on something. And you might, and with the Libra, the masculine energy, on how we go forward, masculine rules forward motion. Like you have these two different people, and this is where we want to go, but it's like this person is on this left side, this person is on this right side, and they can't come to an agreement. It's like, I want to pull you on my side. No, I want to pull you on my side. So it's, again, when you're looking at these different relationship dynamics, look where the energy works synergistically together, and wherever there's like this black and white energy, try and just send it with compassion, send it with love. If it doesn't feel like it's aligning on your path, it's not right or wrong, it is just different. It's not the wrong job, it's not the wrong boss, it's not your boss is a jerk, it's not that your husband's a jerk, it's just, or your boyfriend's a jerk, or your girlfriend's a jerk, or your kids, like it's just different dynamics that are not aligning. And sometimes you have to go with compassion and acceptance, and accept that I can't change your mind, or accept that they can't change your mind, and accept that it's different. And try and stay fluid where the energy seems to work well together. Where people make you feel loved, and because the North Node, we're supposed to be leaving the South Node behind, and we're supposed to be going to what feels nurturing to us, what makes us feel loved, what makes us feel fulfilled, what lights our fire, kind of makes us feel healthy. That's where we're supposed to go to. But within that, we have to sift through where we've been, what we've been doing, and what we need to get done. So looking at, when we're in this Virgo energy, also looking at your habits, what's getting in your way. Scorpio energy, what are your shadow aspects that need to be transformed so that you can be more productive, a healthier person, those kinds of things. When you go to the fridge, are you grabbing cheese and crackers, or are you grabbing fruits and vegetables? Like, are you grabbing, a soda, or are you grabbing water? So it's like looking at those things and making these choices of like, I really want to lose this weight. Like, I have had that in my own thing. I have 5 pounds I want to get off, but it's like I keep making these choices. Nobody else is making choices for me. I'm making the choice to, take in foods and to not, and I'm not exercising. These are all within me. I can't blame or point my finger at anybody else for making me not be able to lose, this little bit of 5 pounds that I put on over the past couple months. So taking responsibility on what you can control. I can control that I am going to drink water instead of drinking a pop or whatever. So on Friday, again, there's these power struggles, and it might just even be an internal power struggle. I really want that pop, but I really should drink the water. So it could be an internal power struggle. It could be an external power struggle between you and your partner, you and your boss, you and your kids. I mean, it could show up in all these different ways. You and a coworker, you and your siblings. The other thing is that Lilith, the very crunchy, the shadow aspect of the feminine energy of Venus, is making a lot of aspects this week. So that inner angry feminine within us, both men and women have this, could start to burp up. So if you notice that, this anger is burping up in you, this anger is coming up, try and diffuse it in a proper, healthy way so that, you can diffuse it and, be able to work through, conflict in a good way. Try and see things differently, and through these different power struggles, there could be different aspects that come up that will create an opportunity within certain relationships for healing, for things to get better, for things to be successful. So Saturday, again, we still have this Libra energy. Saturday, there's a lot, you could feel like you're being, like there's a lot of oppositions happening, like people, places, and things are opposing you, like you're trying to get to the grocery store, but it seems like, where are my keys? Oh my gosh, like my gas tank is empty. Like all these different things keep coming up and getting in your way, so it could lead to some frustration. Something you need to adjust. So again, like, I need to go to the grocery store. Do you spend 90% of your life rushing from here to there to there to there to there to there, and you don't have the consciousness or the awareness to like start getting ready, 30 minutes before you have to be out the door, so that you have time to find your keys, you have time to do this, you have time to do that. So, maybe adjusting your schedule and not packing it so full so that you have this wiggle room. You could want, like, there's also these crunchy aspects where you could feel inclined to like lynch down on your side. So it's like, I have this perspective, these views, they have this perspective, these views, and like you could have the tendency where both sides are at a standoff, okay? And what this is people are being compelled to align with their Aries. What do I want? And having to like see where these differences are so that you're aligning with the proper situations. And then we'll do a video later for the full moon or the new moon in Scorpio that's happening on Sunday. And just so that you know, this new moon is going to set in a new beginning that's going to take about 2.5 years to unfold. So it'll be a storyline of people, places, and things that are going on Sunday that will take about 2 years to 2.5 years to culminate. You could see that on Sunday there's a lot of deviancy. Like you might want to deviate from a plan where you've made commitments and stuff like that, and it's like all of a sudden, again, this choice energy of like, actually I want to go left instead of I've been planning on going right, but now like I'm going to deviate from the plan. So that's that Saturn, and that's when Saturn and Mars like become exact. And so that is really going to have you really wanting to change the structure of your life in one way or the other, and to make a choice to do something differently. Just know that to take these choices slowly, okay? So just move through it in a very slow motion. Take time to kind of go back, be within you. Take time to talk to people that you respect, that are going to give you very good, either give you support or they're going to give you good advice. But again, don't take other people's advice as the law. Take it as food for thought, and then again, come back to yourself and see what you align with. Trying to create compromise this week, trying to come from a space of acceptance. Like maybe you and a boyfriend or you and a girlfriend have been trying to go back and forth and try and make a relationship that just doesn't seem to be working to work. And then, all of a sudden you come to this conclusion where it's like, oh, radical acceptance. Like, I really like you and I really want this relationship to work, but it's just not working for me. We need to part, we need to make different choices. And it's like, you don't want to, but you kind of need to. So that both of you, because say maybe you spend 90% or 75%, 80% of your relationship in this very confrontational space, but like 20 to 30% of it is really good and fun. But are you really willing to sacrifice every day of the week or every day of the month or every day of the year to only be happy in this relationship 30% of the time? I use that as one parallel, but you can parallel that in all different ways in your job, in with your house that you're living in. Like when I was in my old house before I moved here, I did not like it anymore. I didn't like it at all. I did not enjoy it. There was certain things about it that I loved. I loved that I raised my kids there and all these different things, but then there was all these other things that kept coming up, and I was probably about 90% unhappy living in that house, living in the town. When I made like my list of pros and cons and stuff like that, I was just so unhappy. And now I look at those pros and cons in the house that I'm living in now, and there's a little bit of noise on the road. My driveway's really long, so it's going to take a long time to shovel it. But it's like, I love this house that I'm living in so much that it is worth all of those different diversities where it wasn't in my other house. I love the town that I live in. There's just so many positives about this that it makes the negatives look very small. So just, weighing that stuff out. So I'm going to pull some cards to see what, how we can best flow through this energy. And as the theme, we got the bee. And it's all about community. You are a powerful creator. So again, I brought up today, a lot about manifesting your own reality, okay? Your work blesses everything you touch. Be open to receiving the sweetness of life. So we talked about that a little bit within manifesting. You are the queen or king of your own abundance. Okay, and so now I'm going to pull from last week's energy leading up to this week. What have we been going through that we need to be able to utilize to get through this week? So kind of like past. We'll do one card for past. One card for past, please. Not a whole deck, please. Just one card. Again, it's all about manifesting. That's what keeps coming up is like, she's sitting there, she has all this, it's the 9 of Cups, so it's completion of cycles. We got this card last week, I feel like. It's a completion of a cycle. And so seeing all the cups from the past, taking in all that data, do the Virgo thing this week, take in the past, and then now she's coming to this, so new moon, manifesting, that emoji where it's like the head goes, psh. Taking all the stuff from the past, that South Node aspect, and then coming to this, how do we want to transform for this Scorpio new moon? What new beginning is it that we want to go forward with? and how do we want to create? Okay, so that's, we've been coming from this space in the past of kind of really seeing all of this, maybe noticing how, because it's the cups, it's all about emotion. How do I feel about this job? How do I feel about this relationship? How do I feel about these dynamics? And then, okay, so then what are we presented with now? This week of what we're going to work through this week. Whew. So the Queen of Swords. So it's like, how do we want to go? Okay, we're going to start to take steps on going forward. It's like information, again, like I said, when this bird comes into the card, I always see it as like something's going to come in. She doesn't see it yet. So you, right in this moment on Monday, you might not be seeing something, but something's going to come in this week. And it's like, you're just going to be going about staying on your path. So I'm live on Facebook too. So it's like keeping according to what you're doing, staying on your path, and then just knowing that something is probably going to come in this week that might, that you have been manifesting from the previous new moon in Libra. So again, I feel like you're going to see this option of two different choices, because the Libra new moon, and then the full moon, we released what the I am doesn't want, and then Scorpio is going to come in and transform. So you're going to do this process to make this movement from here to there. Okay, and then how is this going to affect us going forward into the future? Celebration. So focus on, this is the cup. So we started off with a completion of an emotional cycle, and we're going to end with celebrating, starting maybe a new emotional cycle. So getting very clear, as you're just kind of continue across your path, as you start to see stuff come in, it's like, maybe take a step back, process, and then, know that there's this radical acceptance where it's like you might need to make a choice on how you're going to go forward. Go towards the energy that makes you feel like this, like I can't get it to not, like you're celebrating with a community, okay? And the B is all about community. It's about how you work together. So it's like you might see where different relationships work well together and others maybe not so much. So I want some clarification on that. So I'm going to pull some angel cards. So what do our angels want us to know about these cycles that are ending, about, staying on our path, keep on moving forward, the different information that might come in, and then also what is the celebration that is going to happen by the end of the week? I don't feel like that's shaken or... These cards are a little bit bigger, so they're a little bit harder for me to shuffle through. Okay, we'll do it one more time. So the Three of Michael, release the past. So again, we had those Nine of Cups. So release karmic cycles from the past and you will grow from situations. It's time to heal the wounds. So if different frustrating energies come up, choose to kind of cut free from it. The Three of Swords is all about heartbreak, and that was another, so maybe something that came up last week that maybe broke your heart a little bit. We pulled that Three of Swords. April pulled that Three of Swords last week. And so, these are different cycles that keep cycling around over and over and over again, and you keep jumping on the bandwagon. So there might be something that comes in that's going to tempt you to jump on that cycle again. So look to the past. What was the heartbreak? Who broke your heart last week? What was frustrating last week? And are you going to choose to do it again? And so, okay, what about staying on our path, about how we're going to kind of keep on our path and just keep moving forward, doing our work. And the opportunity, what's about this opportunity that's going to come in that's going to help maybe shift us to this space of feeling abundant within our emotions? Feeling like the queen or the king, or being able to be the creator that we are. Two of Raphael, two hearts dedicated to creating something wonderful. A kindred spirit. Don't give up on those you love. So the two of heart, I mean the two of cups, I mean that's all about, so now we have the three, we have heartbreak where something broke your heart last week, something was frustrating you last week. This week is all about seeing that balance. What relationships in your life create balance and love and harmony? And then what do we need to know about this Three of Cups, about moving forward and through this energy? The Page of Gabriel. So follow your passion. You are ready for any challenge, opportunities for excitement and adventure. So this is like something's going to come in that's going to help you maybe work with a team of people that emotionally fulfill you, is kind of what I see with that. Okay, so I'm going to pull, what do we have to expect from our relationships this week with the Love Tarot? So from if you're partnered, you know, what does that look like for you? If you're not partnered, what does this look like for us who are looking for relationships or partnerships? I'm going to pull one card for those of you who are already partnered first. I feel like there's a difference between those who are partnered already. Let go of control issues. So if you're in a relationship, where are you trying to control your spouse? Where do you feel like your spouse is trying to control you? Allow the situation to unfold naturally. Okay, for those who are coupled or who are not coupled, who are looking for romance in their life, what kind of card should we expect this week? Ooh. We don't need three, we just need one. Honeymoon, enjoy the bliss and holiday time together. So it says together, so it's like there might be different situations. Maybe somebody calls you and asks you to go out and do something, to enjoy something. So, you know, maybe that's that option to go ahead and take up those opportunities and go out and experience joy. Within relationships that are together, just, you know, maybe trying to sift through what's yours and what's not, and how can you work together? How can you create whatever it is that you're trying to co-create with? And I'm going to pull one last card for both energies to kind of draw them together. Pay attention to red flags. So again, that goes with that Mars energy of like, as you kind of see stuff, things are going to show you. So slow down and notice the red flags that are telling you of what's for you and what's not for you. Okay, so Divine Masculine, I'm going to pull some guidance cards for you. So basically, you know, again, we're trying to manifest and know that we are the king or queen of what we want to do. How does this affect the community of the environment that you're in? But also, how can you work with what you can control and without taking the rights away from others? You know, two hearts are dedicated. So notice where, like, you know, if you're in a relationship and you're really dedicated on making things work, compromise, collaboration, and it's working well together and it's allowing you to stay on your path, then focus on that. If you keep hitting obstacles and challenges, and that's that red flag energy where it's like, maybe this isn't fated. Maybe this is me trying to choose something again, repeating an old cycle and trying to force it to work because I want a boyfriend so bad, so I'm going to force this one, you know, I'm going to force this situation so that we can be together. Instead of like breaking free of something and being able to choose something that's more in alignment with you, or forcing this job to fit your situation, when if you just chose a different job that was based on what your needs are, it wouldn't be that that job is bad. It would be that, okay, this just doesn't fit my life. I need something else. So the masculine energy, what is your advice for the week? I'm going to pull 3 cards. What's the guidance here? Okay, so what I get is peaks of joy. So it's like, what makes you feel like this? Like you're flying, you know, you're in this, like you feel free and joyful. But I got the Strength card and it's upside down, okay? So it's like, what makes you feel like it's taking your power away from you, and what makes you feel like you are powerful? You need to flip that around. So if something makes you feel like it's taking your power away, and or makes you feel bad about yourself, like that's where you always have the choice to choose to move forward in a different direction and stop like repeating the same cycles over and over and over again, expecting a different result. If you've done it at least 3 times and it keeps coming out the same way, it's showing you that you need to move in a different direction, make a different choice, try something different. And also, the spirit of right place, right time. Okay, so focusing on, you know, I feel like the divine masculine can feel like, I'm never going to get to see this again. I'm never going to get to go there again. This experience is never going to happen. But again, notice where it's like there's a lot of faded stuff. So it's like right time, right place. You know, like you end up going to this restaurant and you're not trying to like manipulate the situation. You just end up at the right place at the right time. Okay. Hold on a second. Typically you see me sitting here with coffee. This is me making better choices for myself. Don't let me fool you though, I still had 2 cups of coffee this morning. Temperance, right? Temperance. Okay. Divine Feminine, what is your guidance for the week? This is also, so I'm going to try and go live on Facebook, at least on Mondays, but I'm also making a YouTube video, so it'll also be there later. So it'll be posted on YouTube and it will be posted on Facebook. I just like the idea of having the live video as well, and then also putting it on YouTube. Divine Feminine's a little bit, cards are not shifting very easily. Okay. These are all very synchronistic today. So again, cycles, where I got the going round and round, around and around and around we go. Where we stopped, but nobody knows. So looking at, again, from your emotional space, your divine feminine space, this very nurturing space, like again, last week when we got up here, the the 3 of Swords, like where is this heartache keep on coming over and over and over and over again? Where is the joy when you're around certain places, people and things where you feel this joy, joy, joy? It's like noticing, again, like in the astrology that I talked about earlier in this video, noticing where that joy is and noticing where the joy isn't, and moving, changing your direction to go towards where you are experiencing joy. People, places, and things that make you feel lighter, make you feel give you this healing feeling, make you feel loved, appreciated, that kind of stuff. Divine Feminine, you're in this space of being between worlds. So know that you are in this transition space. So allow yourself to step back, see the cycles that have been going on. Don't get frustrated with yourself that you're still in this, this space of like not fully being in the new emotional abundance yet. And this could even be for men. I mean, like I said, this is for inner masculine, inner feminine. So masculine energy, or men, your feminine space could not feel like it's completely in this joyful spot yet. It's because there's some different things that you have to go through to get to that. But just see where it is, see what is bringing you joy, and then move what you do have control over, start to take steps towards that. And what keeps telling me is like the red flags card keeps coming up. And it's like, what is showing you that this is the same cycle that you've been repeating over and over and over and over and over again? What feels like honeymoon phase, and what are you trying to control in your life? And feminine, like I just keep seeing, go with the flow. Same thing with the masculine. The feminine got poised. So it's like, be graceful, walk through, stay on your path, because everything is going to happen is these fated divine situations. Manifest it, manifest it, manifest it, and then let the universe take care of the rest. Sit back and wait and be chill. If you have somebody coming at you, like barking at you and being grouchy, like, you can't control them. You can't make them stop. All you can do is listen, say, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Or if there's this tendency where you feel out of control, you can't control certain situations and dynamics, it's like, okay, well, what can I do? What can I do to change these dynamics so I feel better about where I'm at in life? Okay? So that's where I'm at. Right now, we're in we're in Libra, or we're in Leo energy. So finding that personal power for the next couple of days, then moving towards Virgo, where you're going to feel inclined to kind of start collecting data, try and avoid being critical of others, try to not be critical of yourself. When we get into Libra moon, we're going to start to kind of weigh our options and notice that there's choices for us. Look at where we've had heartbreak, and especially last week. Look at your week last week. What broke your heart? There was something that came up last week that was very disappointing to you. Maybe not. Maybe you had an awesome week last week, and it was full of roses and sunshine. But a lot of the people that I've come into, there's been different things that were just kind of like, took the carpet out from underneath them a little bit, or put them in a vulnerable space. Try and not make those choices again. Look at where two hearts, two people are coming together. And I feel like this is spirit of the right. So keep walking your path. Don't choose the cycles that are repeating themselves over and over again that keep leading to the heartache. Trust through strength to keep kind of moving forward that you're going to be in the right place at the right time, where these two hearts that are meant to be together, you with another job, you blah, 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 where these two hearts are going to come together. And that there will be some celebration that's going to allow for you to follow your passion. You just have to make the choice that's going to take you there. And try and not force other people to be on your path. That's where you have to decide what's more important to you. Okay? So that's all I have for you today. I hope this was very helpful for you. Like I would encourage you to maybe take some notes. And, again, the biggest thing that I suggest for this week is to be mindful, to find courage, to look at things discerningly, to manifest what it is that you want, instead of saying, like, this person never does that, this person never does that. Sometimes we want to be mad at people. We want to be frustrated. So sometimes we have to humble ourselves to send that, instead of psychically attacking them with negativity, we have to send them love and light and say, my boss does see how I am doing this, that, and the other thing, but also being discerning where, like, let's say your boss or your partner keeps coming to you saying, you're doing this, that, and the other thing, and that really frustrates me, and like really come back and humble yourself and say, do I do that? Yeah, I do. Okay, why do I do that? Okay, this is why. Okay, this is within my control that I can change, and all I can do is tell them that I'm going to make effort towards change, doing something to shift that energy. Because sometimes these habits within us are subconscious, and we can't, it's going to take time for us to change